Alright, what's going on, guys? No, it's been a minute since I made a video, so hopefully I can, make sense of something. I just want to say in this video, am kind of like freestyling everything. I don't have a script, I don't have anything planned out. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I just feel like I'm able to cook something up. So in this video, I'm going to talk about um, ways to view the market, looking at NASDAQ and S&P futures. And then I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit on, some psychological things, like we're going to talk about mindset, we're going to talk about, you know, what is really going on through your emotions outside of the charts or even when you're on the charts. There's more than just an analysis you're doing when it comes to day trading futures, all right? And that's just something we got to be aware of, all right? Cuz if it was all about analysis, then anyone can easily learn how to do an analysis on the charts in honestly 2 months. 2 months. And if you think 2 months is too much, man, your best bet is to just fade away. Okay? And I'm specifically only talking about the charts. You know what I mean? So if you're someone that's like, I want to do something new, I want to embrace something hard or different, and the results that comes with this would do you generational. Okay? And I also want to keep in mind, I do get carried away with some things. I end up speaking about one thing and it ends up turning into one thing, and then it's kind of a big loop. So you guys kind of have to like bear with me and what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? So just hear me out on some of the things that I have to say. So I'm not going to make any edits on this video, so there will be times that I do, stutter or pause, and I'm just not going to bother editing any of this out. Okay. So honestly, I need to figure out again on how I'm going to start everything. So I've gone over standard deviation. I've gone over all right. So, one thing, if you guys haven't already, I post a lot of psychological things and mindsets and some venting, to be real with you guys, on my TikTok. Just shit so you can, just relatable stuff. You know what I mean? So, this is my socials on everything, basically. So we're going to see what we can do and go over. So this was last Friday. I will just go ahead and go over with you guys on the trade that I took last Friday. I'm not sure if it will show me. No, it's not going to show me. So I had an entry right here, and I ended up hitting break even when this 15-minute candle came back down. And then we ended up targeting, I had final TP right up here. Wait, I think this was on ES actually. Yeah. Oh, brutal. Yep, I entered right here, guys. Literally right here. And got break even. And then we ran straight towards my fucking TP, which was right here. Around this external range. I think equilibrium somewhere got tapped into. Oh no, it didn't. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go over price action. And see what we can accomplish together. So, my entire model is based off of price and time, basically. Which is why I have some marked out key levels for time openings. What I mean by that, I have a daily open, I have a 10 a.m. open, midnight, 8:30, and 9:30 open. That I already made a video on these time openings. So I'm probably not going to go too in depth with everything, but so as we can see here on the daily time frame, we ended up coming down and sweeping these monthly lows. All right. I'm only going to be focusing on ES because this is where my entire analysis was revolved around. I don't really use, the only time that I would like to use my correlated pair is not just for SMTs. I feel like everyone who trades and uses the correlated pair using, dual charts side by side, they're mostly just looking for an SMT. But for me, since I like to look at specific price levels, and keep in mind, guys, I don't use DOM, I don't use volume, I'm not a volume trader, I don't use, heat maps, I don't use any of that. Maybe if I did use heat maps, it would probably help with my analysis on finding everything literally from the tick. But I'm just going to do everything on what I see here on the charts. And yes, I use ICT concepts. Okay, so as you guys can see, we ended up coming down and sweeping these monthly lows, okay? So I was like, so on the day, this is our day open. On the day, we came down and we immediately swept out our key levels. So I would then be expecting a reversal day. I want to see an open, high, low, close day, all right? And I think my my charts can be bugged out when it comes to replay mode on TradingView. So what's giving me a bias on being bullish? Well, one, I have multiple bias. I can have a bullish bias, I can have a bearish bias. It all varies on what price is actually giving me, and it all varies on what the previous sessions were doing, okay? I gotta go ahead and get my fucking dinner again. I gotta go grab my dinner and a little treat that I made earlier. Okay, so I'm just gonna go quick with this. This video, by the way, might be a pretty long video, but we have these monthly lows. I had this as a target, drawing liquidity for the entire market on the daily time frame. So obviously, ever since this day basically triggered a lot of sells. Then we started getting continuations. How do I know we were continuing? Literally by just looking at the highs and lows of these daily wicks. You clearly mark out which is which and what's going on with price action in these ranges. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just mark out small examples with everything and how price reacted. So we had this first displacement, okay? So after seeing a displacement like this, we ended up sweeping the previous day lows. We ended up displacing this entire, volume imbalance, and not just the volume imbalance. You guys can mark from, instead of fair value gaps, we marked out the wick to wick, but we have a volume imbalance, so I'm just moving it to the body to the wick on here. And you guys can clearly see on how we respect CE point by the tick of everything, okay? And keep in mind, I do everything all by the tick. I do all analysis off of the tick. There's a little bit of sauce right there for you if you can keep up. But we're going to focus on daily profiling. So you can see these bodies and wicks. First, on this day, the wick ended up respecting this area, but leaving a shit ton of price action in this wick. Okay, so for this day, imagine we just cover up. Just ignore all this. Ignore all this. So we respect the wicks. You would assume, okay, we show displacement. We're probably just gonna come back up, show a little bull trap, like a little manipulation, coming back into this daily inversion fair value gap. Okay. You guys need to keep in mind though is like, what did we leave? What did market generated in this daily wick? Price action. Did we leave, a couple 4-hour imbalances down here? So if we were going to be bullish and if we were going to reverse on this day, why would we leave the markets with a shit ton of liquidity, a shit ton of imbalances, and then say, oh, we're bullish now. Now let's start climbing back up towards all-time highs. Okay, so this is where you would have gotten faked out, or if we needed more data after we came back up here. You guys need to also keep in mind that there is times in the market when you are getting a high probability setups and a low probability setups. Usually trading the day, you have to realize that your timing is wrong. Like let's say you wanted to short in this range, in this daily fair value gap, but you realize that this day didn't give it to you. So we can probably expect maybe the next day to set us up something a little bit more better. Holy shit, I'm stuttering so bad. You guys follow me though? You guys just know when to not trade. Know when to trade, know when to not trade. Know when to de-risk, know when to just trade normal. Know when to trade later, know when to trade now, okay? And that's literally why I started, revolving my entire strategy off of price and time. So let's say we didn't trade this day. We wanted to wait for the next day. The next day ended up happening. We opened up right up here, okay? So when we open, we have 6 p.m. Asia session. Asia session probably, accumulated, and we can assume an AMD on a higher time frame, okay? So I like to do session AMDs, which usually you would see we have Asia accumulate, London manipulates into some type of key level, and then we can start to see New York distribute. London would set up the manipulation, and then we'll chop around, or London would set up the manipulation and then the distribution leg. And then we can have New York market open at 9:30, expand up into the retracement of the displacement that London created and the manipulation. Our manipulation in London session would have been our high for the day, because again, we're studying the entire day. So we're going over daily profiling. And as New York retraces back up, we'd like to then create our New York bias for the day. The 15-minute candle shows respect with the wick, either in a previous day high or in an actual key level. And then just trade the continuation from New York. Okay. So here's an example right here following these marks. So we're on a 4-hour time frame. I can see my daily open right here for the day. Okay. We had Asia show our 4-hour bull, and we started around 10 p.m. Volume slowed down. We started showing generated liquidity. So we look at this 4-hour high right here, this 4-hour high over here, and previous day high right here. So if I wanted to short, I don't want to short with any of these swing points being left over. And ideally, if we wanted to long, we would long and use this 4-hour low as a support level, basically, or as our protected swing point. Okay. Targeting what we actually want to target, which would be previous day high, or going back to the daily, our previous or our daily fair value gap aligned with the inversion fair value gap as well. I'll scale down. London session comes into play around, midnight. We have 12 a.m. and around 3 a.m. Usually 1:30 would start to kick the volume for London session. We have 1 o'clock, and then 1:30 will be in the middle, and then 2 o'clock. Here's the volume now. If you guys want to just watch volume slowly and surely pick up, what are we leaving now behind with this? When I mean generate liquidity, I mean the market is giving us a foreshadow. It's pricing in for something, or it's setting something up, okay? So we did have that 4-hour fair value gap down here, and as I said, we had our protected swing point right here. I would not find a long entry in here at all, targeting these highs. What I actually want to focus on is general shorts, okay? And why I'm focusing on shorts is because of the daily and previous daily price action. We're having huge displacement back down. We're breaking these bodies down here. We're showing displacement with these PD arrays. So my bias is going to be short. After seeing this entire displaced candle, if anything, my drawn liquidity would either be this low right here, this low right here, and overall the entire month low down here, okay? And what I mean by generate liquidity as well as another example on the daily time frame is during this month we ended up going straight down, leaving this wick down here. Yes, we ended up respecting a weekly fair value gap down here, and I think we also edged something, but price ended up coming back up. We went straight back to all-time highs. Cool. Now what did the market leave us for when we want to see a bearish, day or a bearish week? Because we're not always going to get a bullish week every single time. And if we are, we're probably going to show a bunch of swing points confirming order flow, confirming high time frame order flow, whether that's using, fair value gap as a retracement. We respect it, we come back up, and then we show displacement to the upside. That is where you would have your swing point, okay? Now we can start, for people who take continuation trades, we can expect to go long after seeing, a displacement type of move or an expansion move to the upside after retracing to a discount PD array. So we can take trades based off of this. Stop loss at protected low, okay? Another way to confirm displacement to the upside or continuation with the trend, it would be CISD. Here, as we can see, we had these previous sell candles, previous bearish candles that we ended up coming back up and showing displacement above these bodies and above the wicks. But with CISD, we are mostly focusing on the bodies. For me, I focus on the bodies on where the narrative is going. The only time I focus on the wicks is if we left generated liquidity, and honestly, that's probably basically it. Focus on the bodies. The wicks would leave the foreshadow, whether that's the next day, the next week, or the next month, okay? I mean, you guys can see it. We had a huge displacement down. We left this wick. We started chopping around. Like a couple of days, we didn't know if we were bullish or bearish. A lot of people in this area were confused as fuck too, whether we were going to have a bearish continuation or some type of reversal or a correction or some type of retracement. We ended up getting our confirmed order flow for me after seeing this volume imbalance as we came back tapped into it with the wick, and our body showed the close back end range up here, near towards what this would be, equilibrium of this range. Not sure, to be honest, on that one. You can then just mark out equilibrium or CE point of this entire PD ray. And what did we do? We ended up closing above our half point. So that is what I would consider equilibrium at that point. And then we get our CSD, and then we get the retracement and expansion all the way back up again. Showing, bullish order flow. So then for this day, we could just target these highs because you're targeting in the middle of nowhere for all-time highs here on S&P. So moving back over to this recent price action, going back to what I was, honestly so trying to talk about, is the daily profiling. So for this day, we ended up opening, leaving our hourly, and I know we had a 4-hour, I'm pretty sure, but we're leaving our volume imbalance down here. Okay, so market open, we showed foreshadow in the market, but people wanted to keep on buying. Let the market do what it wants to do, okay? And then as Asia started to open, we accumulated. We then had London session opened. We accumulated a little bit more, okay? So now we're forming what I see an AMD model, okay? And this AMD model happens any time frame, any day, any hour. Happens all the time. It's one of the main patterns, with a lack of words, that the market likes to do every single time. We all know the market is built to be against you. So we have to keep in mind that the market does have high manipulation, whether that's in Forex trading, futures trading, option trading. It happens every single time. If there's no manipulation, there is no losers in this game. Because as you guys can see, we had consolidation, we manipulated. For a lot of people and for a lot of retail traders, they would say we have a breakout model. Let's target these previous day highs. Let's target these highs, okay? What did price actually do? We end up reversing, and it ended up dumping straight towards my stop loss for retail traders, okay? But we're not really focusing on this side. I'd like to focus not on this previous day high. The only reason why I'm not targeting this previous day high is because this is the highest on where the market would go at. Reason why, going back to what I said earlier, is because of this day, we ended up sweeping the previous day highs, and on this day, the high of day ended up coming into a key level of these daily volume, these daily fair value gaps and daily inversion fair value gaps. So this is giving me a clear indication that this is the highest that we want to go. And if you guys don't believe me, go on your volume, go on your DOMs, go on your heat maps and see, and just tell me what you see in this range right up here. For those of you that use rejection blocks, this would be a time to use a 4-hour volume, 4-hour rejection block, okay? Again, what we see on the higher time frame, we want to go on a lower time frame and study that price action, whether it's in the wicks or in the body itself, okay? For me, I don't trade by using bodies. I don't trade continuation. I did, and it didn't work for me, and I wanted to move on with something else. It was giving me poor risk management, and I didn't want to think that I can get rich off of 1 to 2 RR. Sneak this, but if it works for you guys, it works for you guys. If you're green, you're green, and that's all that matters if you're going up against a market that is literally built to be against you. So here on the 4-hour rejection block that I also talk about, I'm pretty sure in some of my other videos, this is where we can get a general idea on where the market would have a reversal. Okay, so we're focused on the higher time frames. What did I mark out? I marked out 1 hour BPR, which is a fair value gap that we had right here and a fair value gap that we left right here. We're only focusing on the shared fair value gaps that they both have aligned together, okay? So then I'll go on the 15-minute time frame. For those of you that know time frame alignment, this will work exactly. I mean, time frame alignment works anywhere, anytime. It's how to view the market instead of thinking, okay, let's go into daily time frame, then let's go to the 1 hour, 4 hour time frame, then the 1 hour, 15. You know what I mean? Yeah, it just gets to a point. You're gonna end up marking every single hourly highs and lows, and some hourly highs and lows, especially this previous day high, is irrelevant at this point with the narrative of the market. Okay, again, following the narrative of the market is mostly from the bodies. Focus on the bodies. We go from the high time frame, which will be a daily or 4 hour. Then we scale down to a medium time frame. We mark out our medium, or I still call high time frame, key levels, which would be PD raise or liquidity, or my draw on liquidity. Then the 1 minute, 5 minutes, I even use a second time frame, would be my entry levels. There should be no reason to go on a 5 and 1 minute if you are, I don't know, starting your analysis for the day. Okay, if that makes sense. So what do we see here then? I will scale down to 1 minute. This is intraday. This is intraday fucking reading price action. Basically, you're just on a lower time frame reading the high time frame, candles and bodies and wicks that we created. So on a higher time frame, we had generated accumulation or generated liquidity. As we can also see, even on the every single time frame, we have 1 minute lows right here, 1 minute equal lows right there. We have 5 minute small accumulation right in this area. And again, I'm mostly looking at the bodies. We have a pack of fucking bodies right here. And then again, simply by just looking at medium time frame, we have a 15 minute, the bodies chopping around, accumulation. We also left a few swing points down here. And then it's also aligned with a 15-minute PD ray down, resting below. If we were bullish, I don't want to see any of this accumulation. I wanted us to be manipulating down into this PD array and then going back up here. But I didn't have a bullish bias for that day. I had a bearish bias because of what the history over on the left side of the market was showing us and following the high time frame narrative. So I know you probably can't really see it, but we have our daily open down here, and it's covered with our volume imbalance right now. We have the day opened right here, okay? So I would expect for this day to be a reversal day. What would I like to see on a reversal day? I want to see a specific type of pattern that the market usually ends up creating most of the time. So we had huge displacement upwards, leaving a shit ton of imbalances down here, leaving a bunch of failed swing points down here, and some chop down here. Yes, there is a low time frame narrative that you can still watch and still trade off of, but again, you would be targeting 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, or targeting internal range of liquidities. And I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the higher time frame. That's how you guys can see some of my recent trade recaps getting 1 to 16, 1 to 10 RR trades. And I'd say not from the data that I have from back testing everything, but I would say from forward testing and from my experience, and because it's my model, I'm probably averaging a 1 to 7 RR on most of my trades. Alright, so I start to see an AMD model, and when I mean price and time, I mean we're forming a specific price levels at a specific time. We have New York, we have London session. Notice how price action starts to give us the clear indication on where the market wants to go, exactly when these key or these session openings happen, okay? You guys can call it coincidence, you guys can call it algorithm, you guys can call it whatever. I just call it fucking, I mean, I study ICT, so I just call it ICT. I call it kill zones, and that's why I focus on time and price. As you guys can see then, on the 15-minute time frame, again, we have this daily open. So what I like to see is the daily show our open high. I want to see a low close day, forming our bearish day. The only reason why I think that we were going to have this is because we didn't form enough price action on our daily open. So keep in mind, we have a volume imbalance aligned with our daily open. That is my draw on liquidity for the day if I were to go short. As you guys can see, this wick right here is the wick that we formed that day for the low. If it will show it. I don't think it's going to show it because it was so brutally small. But as you guys can see, we also left relative equal lows aligned with the bottom wick of the daily open. So here's our body open. Here's the lowest that the wick went, forming now our body is looking like this. And our wick is looking from the open to where we left off at. This is what the daily candle looks like. I'm not going to think that we're bullish if we just formed a chode size wick at the lows. That's just me. Continuation days would fuck me up because there is days that we do leave a small wick like that. As an example, we do leave it. And recent price action, we had continuation of a bullish daily by looking at the daily profile. What I mean by daily profiling is, yes, you can go on the high time frame, the daily time frame, and know whether we're having continuation day, reversal day, yada yada, or by simply marking out your daily open, go on the lower time frame, which would be intraday, and study what do you fucking see on what the high time frame formed, and the low time frame is actually showing you the high time frame picture is actually faking you out. It's not actually giving you on everything that you want to see. I did trade on this day, and my entry was right up here at these highs. If you guys don't believe me, again, I have my TikTok. It is pinned, actually. I have it in a clip and in other my socials, because this was the best trading day that I've had in quite some time, and I did trade this on the live. I'm doing an analysis right now on an AMP live account, so this is my main account that I end up trading on a daily basis or for A+ setups. So as you guys can see, the swing point that we had on the daily, which would be right up here, is something that I wouldn't be targeting, okay? I only want to target, what I just showed you guys. I'm not going to try and go too in depth with that, because the more I talk about that, the more I'm going to get DMs about other people saying, I'm basically exposing every single reversal or continuation models that people do when they view the market during an analysis. So that was your top tick entry right here. And again, you would have top tick and target this daily open or other previous price action that we ended up leaving. We had failed swing points, we had equal lows down here, yada yada. This day was beautiful. Price at the time, we also had news this day as well. So we can assume if news was going to be at these specific days, news is manipulation. I want to see us, either create some type of manipulation to the upside or give us a sign that we are showing displacement, and that would be our cue on knowing that we are going to starting to dump. I'm not going to try and go really too in depth with everything because I promised myself I was going to finish my meal about 40 minutes ago, and I was going to have a little 420 day. Okay, and today's Thanksgiving, so I got nothing else going on today. And I woke up like 3 hours ago. So it's those kind of days, but I'm gonna see if I can do something a little bit productive and doing something that I love doing. Um, anyways, though, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. You see this everywhere. I'll go ahead and find you guys another example. Accumulation. We have accumulation formed down here. We have accumulation formed right here. You guys can see accumulation, manipulation, distribution, or accumulation, manipulation, distribution. It happens all the time, guys. Accumulation, accumulation. We swept this accumulation, but we left this accumulation, leaving all these swing points and this swing point. This swing point was news or, a market open. Let's target the market highs or that session highs and lows. We accumulated, we manipulated into these lows, whether that's coming into left side, daily fair value gap or intraday liquidity sweep. And then we distribute or expand back up to the upside. Here's your accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That was a weird burp. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution, and a whole bunch of chop, but we can see failed swing points and what the bodies are showing. Accumulation in this range. As you guys can see, it's Asia session. We then enter London session. And London session showed the manipulation and then a clean V right here. And I know this price action like the back of my hand. And this was just a beautiful day. We had back-to-back 2 beautiful days. And ended up taking a huge risk to reward. I think on 1-16 on this right here. I ended up catching at least half of this entire move down. If I were to have a trail, it definitely would have been down here. And same thing right here. I had a very good entry. I thought it was too good that I can go break even, and market ended up coming back down, tapping into my price level, hitting break even, and I was targeting this high right here. And I don't think I was targeting any of these PDRAs because of the huge displacement and the narrative that we were getting. I didn't think that we were going to, form some type of fucking V shape on here. But I think we ended up doing that later on. We did, yeah. We ended up developing it later on. And even on the 15-minute time frame, you can see the same shit, guys. We have accumulation. Manipulation right up here, guys, and then we have our clear distribution leg down here. You guys see it everywhere. That's why I formed my model based off of something that happens consistently in the market. So there I went ahead and show you the daily bodies, the daily wicks, how to use some of the wicks as a narrative, how to use swing points as a high that the market won't go to. I showed you target points, draws some liquidity. I showed you guys daily openings, which is just right here. And I showed you guys how to daily profiling, and simply that is what I mean by going on a lower time frame and looking at where the daily candle opened and whether or not we set up something for later on or if we confirmed something and we are good to trade later on, if that makes sense. And then I went over AMD or PO3. And then I went over on how the market behaves majority of the time. So I'm probably just going to leave this video as the way it is. And I'll be continuing with more long videos and breaking down a little bit more in depth on the way that I see the market. And again, I don't want to seem like I'm cherry picking anything. So I will try and see if I can go live on TikTok daily because my Discord is I just need a lot more people to then actually for me to privately go on my Discord. And even though it's not private, again, my Discord is on my YouTube channel, link in bio. It is not private. It is all public, open to everyone. I have about 145 members in there and about maybe I'd say 10 people active. And a lot of people have other things to do. A lot of people don't take me serious. A lot of people want to see the journey that I'm on with the entire market. So hopefully this video was able to help you guys get a general idea on how I was looking at the market throughout these past couple of days and how I ended up making a good trade. I would show you guys my TikTok video, but I ended up, it'll be copyright. I'm pretty sure. And it's not in my saved because I have a drive for all that. But there you guys have it. I'm going to cut this video. You guys have a good rest of your Thanksgiving. For those of you that watch this before the end of the day. Again, family is what really matters in the end. They are there with you the entire journey. Some family members aren't even going to be there for you. You just have to know when to pick yourself up, man. Because sooner or later, and I actually pray this for a lot of people, because a lot of people don't get the eyes that God gives you, and I call that simply by just realization. You're in society, you're in a public room, you're in public or you're in a party room, simply by just having realization would make you view the world a lot more differently. Some people call that character development. Some people call that other things. I call it a gift from God himself. The only reason why I call it a gift is because I know that there's people that will never see the world the way that I view the world now. Whether you guys want to call that egotistical or whatever, you guys need to keep in mind that there is things going on in the world that you would never fucking know, and things in the world that you can benefit off of, but you're not fully exposing your eyes to everything. You're not given the realization that God has given you and he's given to others. Doesn't mean he's picking favorites. God does not pick favorites. He has the equal love with everyone. It is up to you to listen to God. It is up to you to take accountability and know, yes, God, I have been partying every weekend. Yes, God, I have been taking drugs. I have been ignoring you, God. And you guys need to keep in mind, treat others the way that you want to be treated. God is going to treat others the way that he knows he's not going to get treated back. That right there should then just prove to you that we have an all-loving God. No matter how many times you disappoint him, no matter how many times you fail him with the lust that you guys commit, he is always going to love you. And that reason is only because of one. And that is from Jesus Christ himself. And if Jesus Christ didn't die for our sins, we deserve hell. We deserve earth to literally just... In the Old Testament, God flooded the earth because of the wrath that he had. If we didn't have Jesus Christ that died for us and give the love that he had for us, I'm sure that it would have been an opportunity that God would have flooded the earth and restarted humanity again and make it perfect. But we have to realize that God doesn't want to create people to follow him. God is giving us options. He's giving us free will, and your option is to party. Your option is to have fun here on earth. And again, nobody knows the truth. So I am not one to come out and judge one another on their lifestyles, their decisions, their religion, whatever. I'm going to believe what I want to believe, and I'm going to manifest what I want to manifest and work for what I want here on earth. And what I leave here on earth will hopefully give me a key to lead towards a direction of eternal life. Whether that is with God, whether that is with whatever you guys want to call it. For me, there is only one and only God, and for me, there is only one and only sacrifice that made God have the everlasting love that we have now. It is all up to you as an individual whether you're going to take life serious and your afterlife serious, or you're just going to party, have fun, and leave. I want things to be forever, whether that's me leaving a YouTube video and helping out some kind of teenager that doesn't have a great home environment, doesn't have great parents, doesn't have a guidance towards anything, doesn't have anything. And just having the opportunity to share on something that I never thought that I would be able to have in my entire life, truly, because I was born, what I say, on a dirt road. I never believed that I was going to be able to look at the entire NASDAQ and S&P and start trading. And start making someone's fucking paycheck in 20 minutes. And start making someone's paycheck in 2 minutes. I never thought that this day was going to happen. And I prayed to God multiple times saying, why did you give me a second chance? I was meant to die poor. So I took it as God gave me a second chance, and I'm going to make this life that I'm given right now embracing the impossible. And what is impossible with most people here on earth is, one, becoming financially successful. And what do we see? A pattern when we start to see people that are financially successful in a perspective of a poor man's eyes. We see from the poor man's perspective that he would call the rich man evil. He would say money doesn't come clean. He would say everything but accountability. Yes, we have things that are out of our control. You need to come to realization. You need to take accountability. You need to know what is in your control. And if it's not in your control, lead it to God. Give it to God. And he will take control of it. If it's in your control, that means God is giving you the control right now to go ahead and do something. He's giving you the options. And we all know there is going to be forever options. Whether it's good or bad. And I wish I took this trade. Or I wish I didn't go break even. I would have made so much money off of this. But it's not about the money, it's about the skill. It's knowing that I was right the entire narrative. It was right that I knew where the market was going to be at. And that's the only thing that matters. So, 50 minutes in this video. Hopefully you guys learned something. There's some psychology, there's a mindset, there is everything that I want to be able to keep on embracing later on in the future, and I'm going to be doing that step by step. Whether I have an audience or whether I don't have an audience, I'm just doing it because I feel like God is calling me to do something like this. Because I have my purpose and I know my purpose. So it is up to you to find your purpose here on life. Or simply fade the fuck away.